So Screambox has a new slasher movie called Creeping Death. This, of course, as I had said in previous Screambox videos, is also released on Hoopla. So if you have Hoopla, you can see it there. So this is a kind of 80s homage, throwback, slasher kind of film. And it is about our main character, Tim. His favorite holiday is Halloween. He's used to going out, celebrating, whatnot. But his mom has just been diagnosed. Well, maybe not just, but was diagnosed with brain cancer. Is dying. So he kind of just wants to stay home. He doesn't really want to go out. He's, obviously having a bad time of it. And his friends, unbeknownst to him, decide to come on over. And what do they bring with them? This bag that they stole from this eccentric weird neighbor. And of course, with stealing this bag, they bring a curse on them, and this being wants to kill them, and the only way to stop him is to sacrifice one of themselves before Halloween is over. Okay, so this is clearly a fan-made movie. People who don't really have the means to make a movie, but they're like, screw it, I want to make a film. So that's very commendable, and I do respect that. But of course, with that comes a lot of negatives, which is the acting, the writing, stuff like that is not going to be up to snuff. That being said, the film itself, I think it does try. And while I don't find it all that successful, I do find elements of it successful in the way of I like that they tried, right? I've watched a lot of these types of movies, and it just feels like they threw together whatever without care. And it's no, this person clearly, because the person who stars in this, he also wrote and directed it. This is clearly his passion project, and I see the passion. So I definitely am, I can see that for its merits, right? And I respect it for that. But the overall experience of the film is unfortunately not great. The acting really hurts the film a lot, and but as far as the storyline goes, they try to create their own lore. And I think that's pretty cool. And I think the highlight of the movie for sure is the look of the killer. I thought that was fairly unique and had a good effect to it for what it was. And I actually thought that the killer was fairly memorable. So good on them for that, because a lot of these, even budget slashers with budgets or horror movies with budgets, they can't seem to land the villain character all that well. They don't have a memorable killer. They just do something super lame and whatnot. And with this one, I dug the look of the creature that was hunting them. They did something with the eyeballs and the face that was that's a cool effect. They also show some of the kills on screen while they don't have the budget, so that there's nothing really amazing happening. They at least make an attempt to actually show the kills, and some of them are quite good. In fact, there's one that's rather good at the very, very end. There's also a good little kind of surprising moment towards the end that I was okay, I probably should have saw that coming, but I didn't, because for some reason I broke this movie up into 7 viewings. I could not get this movie finished. I kept getting interrupted by this or that, life in general kind of thing. And I kept putting this on, and for some reason it kept always restarting when I went to go press play on it, so I always had to find where I was last time, and sometimes there would be hours, days in between. It was terrible. This is not the way to watch a movie, so I apologize to the filmmakers for not giving it, my full attention in one sitting. I just never could make that happen with this film, and it was pissing me off. But I respect movies like this, even if I don't love them, right? The passion there. We have a guy who is clearly a horror fan. He has the Cult of Thorn tattooed on his wrist. He has, like, you can see homages within the film. You can see things like he's wearing a Halloween shirt in his pictures, like with his mom or whatever. Like, you can see that this is like a legit fan of slashers and the horror genre, and he just wants to make a film, and he did, and he got it onto Screambox, and that's pretty badass. I would hope that he'd keep at it and try next time to take maybe some of the money that he makes from this and to hire more seasoned actors and see what he can do with them, because I'm sure these are just like buddies of his, and we all know that your friends can't act. Right? Like, that's something that you learn when you make film. Most of your friends are gonna let you down in that department, but you can either make the film with what you've got or make excuses, right? And these guys made a film, and a lot of us just make excuses. We don't have the right this and that, and some people see that as like, well, I'd rather not put out a good product. I'd rather not put out a product unless it's great. And then other people are like, you know what? Like, I gotta hone my craft one way or another, and the best way to do that is to just get making shit, right? And you're not going to know how your film's going to turn out unless you try. So you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. And I think there is some good things going on in here with, like, the lore, the look of the killer, and the attempts at showing the kills. Those are the positives. Most of everything else I don't care for. The movie's also, like, has a lot of drama in it. And I think that was a bad choice because they don't have actors that can do that. Right? So, like, you've got to play to your strengths. If you got to see what you have in your basket, what you have in your arsenal, and then you've got to shine a spotlight on those attributes, right? You want to shy away from what you don't have, right? So if you have people who can't act dramatically, then you need to shy away from those things, and you need to write the script in a way where you play to the strengths of the actors that you have at your disposal, right? Because it's not like you have an open casting call where anyone's going to come in and you can kind of like write whatever script you want, because you have endless talent in the actors or whatever. That's just not the case here, right? You just have your friends, and you see, like, well, this one friend's funny, and so I'm going to write all the humorous dialogue for them, and this one friend has this going for them, and so I don't know, giving people a lot of dramatic lines who can't deliver those dramatic lines, it just hurts the film more than it helps it. Like, I get that you want to make this a more serious film, and that is something I do, like, respect, because I hate the cop-out that most low-budget filmmakers go towards, which is like, I'm going to make a parody so that, like, when they do it as a crutch, they do it as, like, an excuse where they make it silly so that when someone is like, oh, that wasn't good, they're like, oh, come on, you weren't supposed to be taking it seriously. You just didn't get it. Like, that's such a cop-out to me most of the time. Like, sometimes you just make a horror comedy because you want to make a horror comedy. You make an Evil Dead or something. But a lot of the times I feel like it's a cop-out. And with this one, it takes itself very seriously. It kind of hurts the film, but I respect that they tried to make a serious film. So, anyway, that's that. Creeping Death. Not a recommendation exactly, but if you are a fan of like ultra low budget passion projects from like horror fans who are just trying to make their own film, create their own lore, and you want to see a cool looking killer, for a low budget, then this is definitely something you should check out. If none of that sounds good to you, then avoid it. But anyways, I'll see you in the comments. Adios.